Greetings to the Telok. We are from GC2 and will present case study for Tinta Indah Bhd. I'm Sri Lankili. We'll begin with Tinta Indah Bhd overview. Tinta Indah Bhd is a well-established Malaysian stationery retailer founded in 2005 by Rafiji Kamelan, who remains the Chief Executive Officer (CEO). The companies specialize in importing premium and unique stationery products with over 30,000 items listed on its online platforms. Despite its continued growth, Tinta Indah faces several challenges. There are concerns regarding the sustainability of its supply chains, particularly the sourcing of paper products from environmentally harmful processes. Additionally, the company audited IT policies pose cybersecurity risks, as highlighted by its auditor, Retong and Hangus. Tinta Indah is also involved in a legal issue concerning the unauthorized use of lands next to its warehouse as a staff car park. Looking forward, the company plans to launch a personalized product line under the Mutiara range, which requires investment in high-quality printing equipment. To evaluate the feasibility of this investment, Finance Director Sonata is considering a pricing method such as net present value and accounting rate of return. That's all from me. Now I will pass to the next presenter, Tevisri.
Thank you, Cherry. Now let's go through the possible PPE misstatement and affected assertion. Tinta Indah is in a legal dispute for using land as a car park without approval but didn't disclose it. Under IAS 37, a provision or disclosure is required if a legal obligation exists. Failing to do so under state liability and breach the presentation and disclosure assertion. They also failed to prove ownership of the land and buildings. Without legal documents, these challenge their right to recognize these assets, breaching the rights and obligation assertion. Additionally, no impairment review was done and incorrect depreciation was applied, like depreciating land or assuming an unrealistic useful life. This overstates PPE and profits, violating the valuation and allocation. Also failed to disclose the land and buildings were pledged for a loan, again breaching the presentation and disclosure. Finally, outdated fixed asset records like keeping disposed assets or not recording new ones violates existence and completeness assertion, misleading users about the company's true financial position. Now, let's go through the audit procedures for PPE and the bank PPE. RA should first test ownership rights by inspecting land titles and agreements to confirm legal ownership, especially important since part of the land is under legal dispute. They must perform physical inspection to verify asset existence and usage. They need to review for impairment by checking if any assets like old warehouse show signs of reduced value. Should also reconcile recorded assets with supporting documents to confirm all disposals and additions are properly. They must also recalculate depreciation to ensure buildings but not land are depreciated using various. Finally, RH should assess if provisions or disclosures are required for the legal dispute over the undeveloped Maybank loan. RH should obtain bank confirmation to verify loan balance and inspect the loan agreement for terms and conditions. Recalculate finance costs to ensure the interest expense recorded is complete and accurate.
Thank you, Chemistry. I will continue with the written representation required for management to confirm that the recognitions and measurements of the land and building and the loans of Maybank are in accordance with the IARS standard. Specifically, management should ensure that the disclosures are complete, the estimates of useful life and impairment are reasonable, and there are no unrecorded additions or deposits of land or building and alleged violations for the bank agreement. Next, Tinta Indah faces a high risk of cyber attack with its outdated IT policy and weak control. Such attacks could compromise accounting record and cause material misstatements for revenue and inventory in the financial statement. Thus, RH should respond by evaluating the IT general control, its control awake, additional substantive testings such as physical inventory check and revenue negotiations will be required. Besides that, RH should also assess the IT policy of the company in compliance with Malaysia's Personal Data Protection Act. If Tinta Indah has breached the rules, a financial penalty could occur and there may be an underestimate of provisions. In short, AHRS attends its audit strategy accordingly to ensure the integrity of financial reporting. Now, I will pass to Cherry to continue the presentations.
Thank you, Zay. Now I will discuss threat to RH independence as an auditor that will arise if RH undertakes the IT consultancy services work and explain a possible safeguard that RH might use. The first threat that will arise is self-review threats. This happens when RH helps design or advise on IT systems and then audit the financial statements that rely on those systems. For example, if RH helps Tinta Indah improve the inventory system, any errors in that system could affect revenue or cost of sales figures in the financial statements. RH will then be reviewing the system they have built, which risks their objectivity. To reduce this risk, RH should separate the teams. Those giving IT advice should not involve in the audit. The audit team must independently test any outputs from the IT system. The second threat is advocacy threat. If RH, especially with Nash Maributu as the IT partner, promotes or markets the IT solutions they provide, it could look like they're supporting the client's interests too strongly. This is especially sensitive because Tinta Indah is already pushing digital tools to enhance cyber attacks and online sales. The safeguard for this risk is that RH should avoid any form of self-promotions. They need to provide unbiased technical advice only, while the client's board should make all the decisions. The last threat is familiarity threats. RH has audited Tinta Indah since 2022, and adding consultancy services could make them too close to the top management like Rafizi and Fiona. This could reduce their professional skepticism and objectivity during audits. To handle this risk, RH should rotate audit staff regularly and bring in a senior partner who is not involved with Tinta Indah to review the audit work as part of quality control. That's all from me. Now I'll pass to Hemaran. Thank you.
Thank you, Cherry. Good day, everyone. I'm Hemram Naidu. Tinta Indah Bhd is currently facing serious challenges related to sustainability and ethics in its supply chain. The company lacks a strong ethical culture and has no detailed policies to guide sustainable sourcing of the supply conduct. This gap has led to unethical practices and poor accountability across its supply network. There are also major risks in the supply chain, especially from tier 2 suppliers. Materials like gemstone and paper are being sourced with little to no transparency. Some suppliers like Vedco are linked to the unsafe labor practices, while others like Papra Bhd are suspected of the greenwashing and using low quality or misleading materials. This issue not only harm the environment but also threaten the Tinta Indah legal compliance and reputation.
Thank you, Hemaram. Now, I will explain Tinta Indah responsibility for the actions of its suppliers. As a responsible stationery retailer, Tinta Indah recognizes its strategic duty to ensure ethical practices across all tiers of its supply chain. For Tier 1 suppliers like Tinta Berhad and Papra Berhad, Tinta Indah holds direct responsibility. This means conducting through due diligence, enforcing contracts that mandate sustainable practices, and verifying claims through credible third-party certification like the Forest Stewardship Council. Failure to comply can lead to contract termination. When it comes to Tier 2 suppliers such as Vedco, Tinta Indah's control is more limited. However, it still carries indirect responsibility by pressuring Tier 1 suppliers to ensure ethical conditions throughout the chain. This includes requesting indirect audits and collaborating to address risks like unsafe work environment. To support sustainability throughout supply chain, Tinta Indah should take 4 key recommendations. First, establish supplier code of conduct to set clear sustainability standards. Second, implement regular audits to verify compliance, especially in high-risk areas. Third, require certification like FSC and allow site inspection to verify sustainability claims. And fourth, collaborate with suppliers through training and resources to build capacity and drive long-term improvement. These strategies help Tinta Indah reduce risk, ensure accountability, and lead in ethical stationery retailer. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Thank you, Shafika. To overcome its current supply chain issue, Tinta Indah first established clear policies. This includes implementing a code of ethics and a sustainability policy that outlines environmental protection, fair labor, anti-corruption, and responsible sourcing. This policy must communicate to all the employees and the supply, supported by the training programs to ensure the understanding and compliance. Next, the company must monitor and audit its supply chain regularly. This includes conducting supply chain audits to identify high-risk areas, especially in paper and gemstone sourcing. A supplier risk rating system should be introduced and the suppliers with a third-party certificate like FSC and RJC should be prioritized. Finally, strong governance and the reporting mechanism should be established. Tinta Indah should set up a sustainability committee to oversee supply compliance and a whistleblower mechanism to allow employees and the third party to report the unethical behavior. This step will strengthen the accountability, rebuild trust, and position Tinta Indah as a leader in ethical and sustainable practices.
Thank you, Hemaram. Now I'll walk you through the investment appraisal for Mutiara Range project using the net present value analysis. We assume the printing equipment will be used for 4 years with straight line depreciation given that there is a high demand for this sector, so there will be continuous production. The initial investment totals 730,000 which includes the purchase price and installation cost. These are capitalized in line with accounting standard of MASB 15 property plant and equipment. Annual revenue is estimated at 1.37 million, calculated using the asset turnover ratio and year 2025 sales. This ratio was used because we assume Tinta Indah will fully utilize the equipment to produce higher revenue. Moreover, operating costs are expected to be 70% of revenue and a one-time expense of 17,000 will occur at the end of year 2. We used a 5.06% discount rate derived from Tinta Indah average borrowing cost including both short-term and long-term borrowings. Importantly, depreciation was excluded from the NPV calculation since it's a non-cash expense. Here you can see that as of 1 April 2025, the net present value of the project is 900,000, 99,000 and 793, a strong positive figure indicating that the investment is financially viable. Given the positive NPV, steady annual cash inflow, strong NPV with low discount rate, and a return of 37% over the investment, this project is financially attractive. Beyond the numbers, the market for personalized stationery is expected to grow from 13.97 billion to 19.3 billion US dollar. Entering this niche position, Tinta Indah strategically offering exclusive high-margin products differentiating from mass-market competitors and securing a first-mover advantage. In summary, both financial and strategic factors support our recommendation that Tinta Indah should proceed with the Mutiara Range project. Now, I'll pass to Chen Yi to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Hussein. Now let's dive into why Tinta Indah should use net present value (NPV) over accounting rate of return (ARR) for investment like the Mutiara Range project and how Haslinda surveys of 100 regular customers can be optimized. First, NPV accounts for the timely value of money with the meaning cash today is worth more than cash tomorrow. ARR ignore this, risking inflated profit estimate. For long-term projects like Mutiara Range, NPV ensure accurate forecasting. Second, NPV track actual cash flow, while ARR include no cash item like depreciation. Since Tinta Indah need liquidity for operation and launch, NPV cash-based approach is far more reliable. Finally, NPV evaluate all future costs and benefit, unlike ARR short-term average. This helps Tinta Indah avoid surprise and make strategy decision. In short, NPV focus on cash, timing, and long-term value, make it the clear choice. Now, let's shift to Haslinda's decision to survey 100 regular customers. Surveying 100 loyal customers is cost-effective and convenient. It also yields higher response rate as regular customers are more engaged. However, a small sample size risks a high margin of error, and loyalty bias may stretch results either over positive or negative. To fix this, we need to ensure the survey questions are clear, nature, and logically ordered. For example, ask how would you rate our service instead of don't you love our service to avoid bias. In summary, use NPV for investment and refine survey with larger sample size and smart design. Together, this strategy will drive better decision for Tinta Indah. Thank you. Now I'll pass our group presentation to Shafika.
Thank you, Chen Yi. Before we wrap up, let me quickly summarize the key findings and recommendations from our presentation today. We found misstatement in PPE, including land ownership issues, missing impairment reviews, and weak disclosures. This affects key financial assertions like existence, valuation, rights, and presentation. To address this, we recommend procedures such as physical inspection, verifying legal documents, recalculating depreciation, testing for impairments, and also confirming balances with bank. We also note that cybersecurity risks due to weak IT controls and a potential independence threats from purpose consultancy works. Both of these require strong safeguard. On sustainability, there are concerns with unethical practices in the supply chain, especially tier 2 suppliers. We recommend a supplier code of conduct, regular audits, certifications, and stronger oversight. Lastly, the Mutiara Range investment shows strong financial potential with a positive NPV value. It offers good returns, low risk, and meets market demand. That's all from our group. Thank you.